Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is March 26th. We're gapping up today. So that dip was bought on that negative news from AMD and Intel and Microsoft for China not using them in government computers. And that just looked, like I said, might be just a dip to buy, and that's exactly what happened. So even though the market opened, pushed up higher, had a little sell off late day, not a big sell off, and it closed at the lows, but that did not matter. Market's gapping up right now, so that's what's going on right now. Um, Not tons of news. Um, Low volume yesterday, so that's another thing. The volatility was not there. We had a 14 and a half point range in the futures. That is a very small range. Very small. Hopefully, the overnight sessions have been bigger than that. But without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the market, along with gamma exposure levels, supply and demand, anchor VWAPs, and the most traded price of the year, the rolling month, the rolling week, and the previous day. All helps me find structure in the market, as you'll see when we go over things. All right, when those things line up, it helps me put risk on for a possible trade, and that's how I like to look at the market. Everything gets structured for me with these tools, so I can just look real quick and see where people are trading, see where there could be inflection points, right? At a candlestick glance, I can't see any of that information. So that's why I choose to use this, okay? And if you're new, please subscribe and set an alert. That would mean a lot. Hopefully you get some information out of this. And if you do like what you see, please give me a thumbs up. That would mean a lot. And you can always follow me on X at Gonzo719. Okay? Now, let's get right into futures. Boom. All right. Now we'll check out relative volume in a little bit. I think it's a little higher today. Gold, loving it. Gold's up almost 1%. So had a little pullback, but now being bought up. Could be some FOMO because they say that gold could possibly go to 3,000. We've been hearing that for years and years, but actually it's a possibility finally. Russell's up 0.65. The Nasdaq's up 0.47. Silver's up 0.40. ES up 0.35. Crude had a pullback, and it was bought up, so it's up 0.24. Up 30-year bonds up 0.26. The Dow is up 0.18. The 10-year yield should go down with bonds being bought. The dollar is down 0.14. Ether's down 0.22. Bitcoin's down 0.5. And the VIX is down 0.83. All right. Moving on to the Max 7 Plus. Big leader today, Tesla. I saw there's news with Italy looking to get some trucks from Tesla. So that has them up 3% pre-market. AMD, like I said, that negative news was a dip to buy yesterday. So that is up 1.14%. Nvidia is up almost 1%. Looking for that 1,000. Coins up 0.88. And then we go to, there is not a laggard on this board at all. You want to call them laggards, Apple, JP Morgan, and Netflix, but they're still up. So not much of a laggard there. Now moving on to the top sector stocks. We got UPS. UPS saying they're going to have good revenue in 2026, I believe they said, which beats estimates, so that's getting some love. Then you got Qualcomm as a semi, Goldman Sachs, and there's a laggard. The only one that's not even really a laggard is 0.07 down is Eli Lilly. So that's not much. Now, if we go to the swing trade list, who's the leader there? That's that VKTX is the leader, up 13%. Let's see why. Viking Therapeutics reports positive results in study. Oh, there you go. And then Tandem Diabetes, they're up 5.61. They got an upgrade. Super Microcomputers is up 3.78. Lucid, Spotify, Micron, SoundHound, and finally gold. The miners maybe waking up a little bit. GDXJ, This is the typical guys that have been up all the time, right? Now, let's go to some laggards. There's not much to see here. CVS. CVS is down 0.92. I believe that's Walgreens down 0.63. Now, there might be something. That's probably because did they report earnings? Not yet. I wonder if there's some news a little bit in the medical side. Mara, Tilray, Bitcoin ETFs down slightly. I mean, but not much to see here. Not much weakness. Okay, moving on. Sectors. Semis, again, leading the day, up 1%. It's just momentum. That's where the momentum is lying in the semis, followed by discretionary, which is Tesla finally getting love. Technology up 0.48, big sector. Communications up. Okay, is there a laggard? No, there is not. So that's the story of the futures watch list this morning. Right now, there's not tons and tons of news really to talk about. Economic calendar is kind of weak. Um, we do have let's see here. We do have, what do we got? Durable goods at 8:30. It's usually not that big of a market mover. Um, then at 9 a.m., S&P Case-Shiller, not really much of a market mover. However, 10 a.m. you got CB consumer confidence, and then a bunch of other Richmond Fed numbers. Now this could possibly move the market at 10 a.m. You got a bunch of things dropping there. Okay, and that's really it for today. That's very light. And let's look at the juice. Juice have anything for us? Not really. Let's look at here now. The only thing is Boeing's searching for a new CEO. Apple faces more lawsuits from consumers. Okay, that's what's going on there. I mean, it's not really affecting Apple much. There were some upgrades and downgrades. Nothing really to note. Okay, nothing really to note there. I'm just trying to think here what else there was to say. Not much. I mean, it's kind of light, very light. All right, so I think we can go right into the daily charts today. Let's do that. So we'll go right into those. And that channel is being respected. And anybody can see this, right? So that channel, you're getting a pullback, right? There's the top of that channel. It's being respected. Okay, now you can see here. It's last week's highs. All right, it's last month's highs. And then we just had kind of 3 days and kind of had this. Yesterday was just a painful day to watch. Um, this just happened really at the close to make this candle look like this. Okay, it's not indicative of how the day was. This happened at the end of the day. No big deal. But guess what? We're at almost 522 right now. So we are all the way up here right now, pre-market. So that little 3 days of selling. Now you got buying pre-market. Okay, gapping up. So right about here, close to Friday's close. Not Friday's open actually. Okay. So we have to see. I mean, core PCE is coming out this week. The volume has kind of been light. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to go on here. The Qs. Let's talk about the Qs. They have their own little channel going on. Now, it's interesting because see the SPY had red days, right? But the Nasdaq has had, opened and then closed higher, even though the overall was down. All right, you can see yesterday we pulled right down to the 9-day EMA on the daily, right there. Boop, got bought up. Right, where is it now? 447.16. Right, all the way up here, almost at Friday's highs. So we're gapping up. almost at Friday's highs, right? So 449, could we go right back up there without even testing the bottom of this trend line? We'll see. Okay, we'll see. Now, as far as the triple-headed monster, let's see, the 10-year yield is down 0.31. Okay, let's go to that. Let's look at this triple-headed monster together. Let's see where this yields are at. All right. So boom, we dipped down, yields rose, yields dipped, and now we're just hanging out above the 200-day moving average, probably waiting for core PCE. Right now, yesterday when I did the dollar, like it disappeared on my chart. I don't know why that was. All right, it's there now. So because we got Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so the dollar today is down 0.13. Right, that's over the 200-day average. It's over this web of moving averages, but it has resistance here at 104.6. It's kind of a wait and see. Right, kind of range bound, really. Right now, the VIX, we really don't have much fear. This is all complacency down here. We're at 13. Right, we had a couple pops of volatility up here, but we're just complacent right now. So this is 30 days out of fear, which is not much fear. So that's kind of wrapping up the triple-headed monster. Okay, we can get right into profile, market profile, volume profile, and we'll get right into structure. And let's see here. So this is the ES, all right, futures. So what a weird looking profile a little bit. So this is the rolling week. So look, we got a big distribution here. Then you got a low volume node right there, right? And then you got value up here, right? So to me, it looks a little top heavy, which would be bullish and balanced. And like I said, it looks like you could get some excess at the top here. Okay. I talked about it pre-market yesterday. I almost pulled the trigger on the long. Would have been an okay trade because the range was small. Would have been an okay trade. I noticed that here, I was talking about a pre-market, right? That was the long activity to all this short, and I said everybody's shorts were getting paid. Was this dip going to get bought? Now what happened is we did open here, right? Came down, and then once we crossed the overnight most traded price, that's where we pushed up. Right, but then in the close, only in the close really did we come back down. But yesterday was just a painful session to watch. Okay, now you have some demand zones that have been made. Okay, we just knocked out a couple supply zones in the overnight. So we did close at the lows, but that doesn't matter now. Okay, we did close at the lows, but it doesn't matter. And what are we though? Here's just there's some pretty important stuff here. Okay, where are we at? Okay, so the most traded price of the week has moved right here. That is like 52.84. Happens to be the most traded price of yesterday. Okay, we are above that now. We are above that. So that's bullish even in the short term. Okay, and we're gapping up. Price is here. You notice the most traded price is up at the top now. Okay, and we're gapping up. Now, here's the important part. Here's the open of the overnight. It's 100% net long. Okay, just the opposite of yesterday. Look, people bought that low, even though we closed here. If you have stops here, you're still fine. And then people bought the overnight. All right, so everyone's long from here and here, and you got a lot of volume trading up at the top. Okay, so this could be setting up for a little fade off the open. Okay, this could be setting up for a little possible fade. And from this profile, now this has a bullish imbalance to it, right? So profiles don't usually look like this. They look like this. Notice how this profile here has excess at the top, right? Profile here, this is a little top heavy actually. Look at the profile from yesterday. See the excess? It's a bell curve, right? That's why I always say bullish imbalance, because it's not a normal looking profile. That needs to be corrected, okay? So yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows, overnight highs, overnight lows, overnight highs, okay? So we're gapping up. All right, we're doing a lot of gaps lately. All right, so gap rules. How are we going to tell strength or weakness in this market? Okay, buyers are in control if definitely we gap and go, right? If we fail to fill the gap and go, or if we fill the gap and go, that's all bullish, right? It's all bulls in control. The only time you're going to see sellers be like, okay, it's not over, is if we creep back into range, yesterday's range, okay? So let's look at some scenarios, okay? Now, we're above these levels, so let's talk bullish. So we're going to talk about these ES scenarios. Okay, we got demand down here, right? Now look, here's our confluence, okay? You have the most traded price of the week down here, most traded price of yesterday, and you have a demand zone. Okay, and this kind of lines up right here with the gap fill. Okay, now remember what I said, we're 100% net long overnight with a lot of volume up here. What I could see happening is we open and we push and correct. We correct this bullish balance. Okay, I think we come up here to the supply, and if we come through the most traded price of the overnight, I think you definitely have a chance to fill this gap. Okay, now this is the bullish case. If we fill the gap, right about here, we probably even dip our toe into this demand and come out, and you start making lower highs. That is the move right here to possibly make us not break out, but just go higher. That's kind of what I've been looking for, because if we break this level, well, now sellers are going to be back in control, and I don't want to be longing below that level. Okay, now I explained that scenario, but within that scenario lies a bear scenario. Okay, and this is very important. Okay, now we have 100% net long over the overnight. We have us at the upper third of the session. We have the most traded price of the overnight up here. So, like I said, I want to see this get corrected and put some excess in, like this. Right now, that leads into the bear scenario. Okay, what I would like to see is this overnight session right here. The price is right here at 52.96. That's fine if it goes down, but I think it's going to come up, and I think it's going to put that excess in, hit the supply zone. Okay, come back through. When it comes back through this level, that's, remember, a lot of longs are there, and you breaks it, maybe lower high. We're probably going to go and test, like I just said, this area. Now, like I said, this in my bull scenario is a buy. So if you have something on here, take some off and then wait. And if you break this demand and you start holding and holding and holding, you have a weak low here. Right there at about 52. That's ugly. Let me do that again. 52.72, 52.75 right there, right? That is, if you break that and hold, that could be bad. Okay, but like I said, we definitely could come down here and just kind of hang out. Doesn't mean it has to fall, but if it breaks this level and holds, we will. Okay, that's what I see in the ES. Now, if we're talking about The NASDAQ. All right, let's look at that NASDAQ. Let's look at this profile. This profile looks very balanced. It looks different, right? Because we had excess to the bottom yesterday. See that? That was yesterday's move down. That's the excess. And we got value. And then we got the top. So as far as the NASDAQ, it's made the down move. All right? ES really hasn't. So this is a little more balanced. Okay? You can see the most traded price of the week is right in the middle of this profile. That's why it's balanced. Okay? And what is that level? Or 185.40. 185.35, say. Okay? Very balanced. Very balanced market. Okay, we are gapping up as well with the most traded price up at the top here. Okay, so very similar in structure. Okay, now the one thing here, I'm already seeing a big difference here. We did put some demand in here, in here, in here. Now yesterday, this was where that dip was bought. We opened, we pushed down, went through the open and never looked back. That's when you had an AMD get bought. It was just a dip to buy. So, and now, okay, what do we also have? It's a little bit of a better setup for a short in this case, or the long. The level to just look at is this level here. Okay, now let me show you the confluence why I say and explain my methodology here really is check out all these levels. Most traded price of the week, most traded price of yesterday, which is right here. Week to date VWAP, overnight low, the close. You see all that? All of that is right here. Okay, and what does that mean? Oh, also a week low, a value area low from yesterday. Wow, it's just a ton. Okay, so this area is the line in the sand. Bears, bulls have to defend it, the bears have to break it. That's it for the NASDAQ. Okay, remember, you could even see right here. This is the value area low of the composite profile, right? It kind of lines up with it as well. So that right there is the level. All right, now the same scenarios are going to play out. We're gapping up. So here's yesterday's high, yesterday's low, overnight low, overnight high. This is a week low with many, 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 many levels of confluence right there. Okay, so it's the same thing. Okay, I'm really liking this setup. It's very clear. Very clear. This level is so clear. Okay, so so we are 100% net long as well on the NASDAQ. We do have the most traded price at the top. We are at the top of the range. So I'm looking for some correction a little bit. It does have a little excess here. Right? I just wanted to stay up here so we can come through here. Okay, so let's talk about the bull scenario, right? We have big demand zone right here with all this levels. Okay, so unless this gets broken, I have to think bullish. Okay, so here in my first scenario, what I'd like to see is a push up into this supply, come through the most traded price, and then come down to here to test this demand zone, to test all these big levels. Week to day VWAP right here. Most traded price of the yesterday, most traded price of the week, right? The close from yesterday, the value area low from yesterday. That's why it's so important. If it holds, if this holds and we start creeping, there you go. You kind of got a weak high here as well. Right here, you could break this and go up. Okay, below the level, it's not good. Okay, not good for bulls. Now, if we look at the bear case, same thing as the ES. See, we're starting to come out of this here. I hope this doesn't happen pre-market because then obviously that scenario is not there. So, again, if I'm a bear, we're in supply. We came up here. Most traded price of the overnight is up here. Okay, you're 100% net long, which is beautiful if you want to fade this. So I would love an open to come up, come through the open, come through the most traded price, Probably get a little bounce here at the gap fill, and then you test this demand and this level, right? Be very, very cautious in this. Be very careful, cautious. However, if we start to work and punch through this demand level and start to hold, find acceptance under this level, this is a demand zone here, but also if this market gets super weak, you have single prints here from yesterday, which could get cut right through and then maybe test monthly VWAP here. Monthly VWAP's at 183.72. Okay. Now, like I said, this could stop here and bounce. Super weak is going down to that most traded price of the year, most traded price of the month, 182.50. Okay. 182.50. That's really what I'm looking at. Pretty basic. Okay, now, one thing I wanted to go over from yesterday, where we pulled back and why we pulled back to where we did. Okay, I want to show you guys some hourly charts and futures and just show you why we did what we did yesterday and why we got bought where we did. Okay, and why I wanted the long ES. I wasn't liking the way the market looked, even though it would have worked. Okay, so let's look at this together. And now we also have the relative volume here. Okay, so right now this is not great. This is 57%. This is based on each candle's 15 minutes. We're only at 57% over the last 20 days of the average volume, this is low. I don't know if it's because this weekend's Easter, but very, very low volume. In the NASDAQ, we're at 81%, right? Crude, we're only at 66%. So this week has light volume. Okay. Now, if we go over to, now you could look at that a little closer like that. Okay, just to show you guys that. But going back over to the hourly charts, okay, I want to show you guys something here. And let's zoom in here so we can really see it all. Okay, so I've had this on my charts for a little while now, but I'm going to show you guys. All right, so I had a fib from when we broke out right here, Fibonacci, and I put it to the top of the peak, right? So Fibonacci retracement level is really, to me, the shallower the pullback, the stronger the market. However, the two levels you always want to be cognizant of is the 50% retracement, which was 52.74, and the 61.8 is the 52.64. Usually when these get taken out, it gets reversed, the move. Okay, well, look what we did here. You see those 4 candles? Hourly candles, right on the 50%. Okay, so 50% of the move was taken back, but then it was held. And now look what we're doing. Okay, so that is the defense here for the bulls. 50%, bulls stepped in. That's your most traded price of the week and of yesterday. Now we broke out of that, right? So that's why you have to hold this. All right. Now let's go over to the NASDAQ, and you'll see a similar thing. Not exactly the same thing, but a similar thing. Okay, let's zoom in here. Okay, same thing, same concept. From that big move, basically from FOMC, we moved up, we came right up to this peak, right there. What did we do in the NASDAQ? We came down almost to 50%, pushed up, came down to 50%, tried to get bought, right? And then look where we went yesterday, right to the 61.8 retracement. That's the last line of defense, right there. And what happened? We got bought. And then look, That's why I said this level is really important. Most traded price of the week and the most traded price of the yesterday. You can just see how many candles are in that area. That's why it's like that. And there's demand. We just broke out of it, right? So you have to defend the level here. There's week to day VWAP. Okay, you have to defend it. So if we pull back in here, it has to be defended to move higher, right? If you get below this level and accept, you're going to go back down and possibly test VWAP, month to date VWAP. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. Right now, you can see right here too, this supply zone has a very key resistance level here, right here. That's why we're getting resistance right now. It hasn't been broken in a long time, so that's a pretty powerful resistance. Okay, I can give you that just a roundabout number here at around 186.12 in the Nasdaq. Okay, all right, so that's gonna do it for me. All right. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that analysis. All right. And if you could do me a favor and subscribe. All right. Subscribe, set an alert. If you like what you saw, thumbs up, like would be much appreciated. You could also follow me on x.gonzo719 as well. Okay, so we have the plan. We got big levels to look at. Okay. We have our big levels. Now, look, we're pulling back. So real quick, I can give you the double shot of the market profile here. We're pulling back now. Now we're here. Look, in the Nasdaq, we're here. All right. So this is not what I wanted. Now, obviously, the bullish scenario still stays intact. If we pull into this demand, we could rip out. If we pull into this demand, we could rip out. And then what happens is, let me show you. Because this is so much bullish imbalance, now that can be a breakout point. There we go. We're getting some selling now. Big selling. Something just happened. Something just happened. Okay. I believe we can look at it here. Let's see here. 835. Wow. That's not good for Apple. Okay, so this is the news that just hit the wire, I guess. All right, Kraken investigating issue with spot exchange clients connecting to platforms submitting orders over web mobile phone. Okay, Russian oil refining capacity taken out by drone attacks. Okay, what's Crude doing? Nothing with that. Visa MasterCard reached 30 billion swipe fee deal with merchants. Here's the big one. China iPhone shipments fell about 33% in February. Apple now is down almost 85%. Okay. Look at Apple at the bottom of this list. It's down 0.75 now. Okay. Getting big orders hitting the tape. Okay, look at this dual setup now. Price is here. We're at yesterday's highs in both. We're not gapping anymore. So this just changes things now. Not in the scenarios stay intact, but that's just news just dropped, okay? So I'm going to have to leave you with that. Take my daughter to the bus. Everybody have a great day. And now Apple, with these lawsuits and with this China data, is now in the negative, okay? So you're getting a pullback now. Now the pullback might get bought right up after this. Who knows? But everybody have a great day. Stay green, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.